All right, so Courtney Dade has 2 decades of experience in marketing and a heart firmly planted in the growth of small businesses. She's dedicated her career for mastering the art of digital transformation and brand storytelling. She's the founder and chief strategist at CSD Marketing and Consulting, a lead and dynamic team committed to empowering small to medium-sized businesses with tailored digital marketing solutions, from cutting-edge social media strategies to comprehensive reputation management. So, without further ado,
All right. Am I unmuted? Okay, good, because I'm classic for muting myself and staying muted. Hi, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I'm so glad that you decided to jump on. Today, I'm doing a workshop on marketing. What's interesting is marketing is such a big topic that I literally couldn't hit all of it. So today, I'm going to focus in on your online presence and why it's important, especially as business owners. So I know that we had time for one introduction, but I would love if in the chat you guys could kind of throw in who you are and what type of business you have. If you haven't started, what are the businesses that you are in development? I would just love to know kind of who you are, where you are, and what you're doing. And then just to come alongside that intro, basically it's just saying that I've been doing this for a super long time. I call myself a dinosaur because I was doing marketing before social media was not social, when like I came before the CD. We used to send mailers out. In my corporate career, I worked for Tony Robbins for a few years developing his products. And then I've also worked with the San Diego Symphony. I'm a local, born and raised here, second generation. My mom was too. So I definitely understand the unique landscape that San Diego offers. So I do have a presentation that I'm going to run through. I feel like there's a lot to it, but if you are interested in it, then I'll be happy to email it to you after. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. So, all right. So the presentation goals today are for me to help business owners understand the value of your online presence. Also to break down the core components of a digital marketing foundation, provide a few like affordable tools and strategies that you can get started with right away. And then I have just a couple things like, if you do nothing else, just go and do this right now. And so we have some action items that you can do so it doesn't feel like all theory. So feel free to throw questions in the chat. I can't really walk and chew gum at the same time, so I don't know if I'll get to them, but we do have time at the end for Q&A. So just throw them in there and I'll scroll and look for them. All right, so here we go.
I got your back in the chat too.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Because I can't even do it in real life. All right, cool. So we're gonna start off the intro. We're gonna talk about a mind shift. And the reason why I want to start here is because I feel like there's so much information out there about what you have to do online, what your social media has to look like. And so let's just kind of quiet the noise and just we're gonna talk about just a few foundational things when we're thinking about our online presence. So I know a lot of business owners that run their whole business on social media. And though, again, the dinosaur in me, before social media was a thing, people had to do websites and other things. But online, no matter what environment are in, it's like the new main street. And so what that means is back in the days before the internet existed, in order for you to find a business or to shop, you literally would walk down a main street and it would be shop, store, and you could kind of get all your services in one place. Well, now that we're digital, online is that same thing. It provides opportunity for all different types of people to find your businesses and do business with you. Okay. And first impressions are digital. I like to always think about when you are considering doing something. The majority of the time, most of us will, hit the search button on Google first, or maybe we'll check out social media, but no matter what, we're looking for something online. So for example, say I wanted to purchase a wedding gift, a custom wedding gift for someone. Well, I have an idea. I want a custom wedding gift, but I don't really know what I'm going to do. And so I'm sure most of you would start with Google or grab your phone or wherever you are and start typing in custom wedding gifts. At some point, you're going to find a few businesses that are lined up. And when you do that, you're going to click on that business and hopefully it'll take you to a website. And then from the website, you're like, okay, this stuff looks interesting, but let me check the vibe of the company or let me see what they're about. So then you're going to go hit social media. And then you're like, you know what? I like their stuff, but I wonder if it's really great quality. So then you might go check them on Yelp, or you might go check out to see anybody, Google to see anybody's online reviews. And so now there's been 4 different touch points that someone has made looking for your business without ever talking to you. So that's why we say that your first impressions are digital. I can go do a whole bunch of research on you and your business and what you do without ever having to say hello to you or without you ever knowing that I did so. And so, since we are here at B6 and we're part of Black San Diego, I think it's important for us to note that, especially in the times we're in, when folks are wanting to support Black-owned businesses, that there is an opportunity online for you to present the culture, for you to have the representation needed. We don't always get the love in mainstream, and so you can create your own space by digital means. And so that's one of those things where we don't have to wait for someone to invite us to the table because we can bring our own. And then lastly, I know that we're talking about your digital presence, but I want us to all think about digital power. And the reason why I say that is because you control the narrative, right? Nobody's going to tell you who you are. You can go out there and develop the brand that most represents you, that most represents your business. It can be aspirational. You can talk to who you want to. You don't have to follow any specific rules. It's your space to be creative. And there is a lot of power in that. And so when we're looking at the tools, just remember that these aren't hard and fast rules, they're recommendations. And no matter what, you control the narrative. All right. So I'm going to move on. All right. So we're going to talk about what I believe are 3 must-haves to getting found online. So one of the things about it is that you can have a fantastic business, but if nobody knows that you exist, then you just have a fantastic business and you're not making any money. Um, I think that not even think, but one of the hardest things, especially for new business owners, like where are the customers? How do we find the customers? Especially if you're, again, a person that runs your business on social media alone. It's great if you can go viral, but a lot of times your buyers are not necessarily on social media. And so what we want to do is we want to make sure that we are presenting our business the best way we can and finding the buyers that are looking for us. So the first thing that I'm going to recommend is that for you to create a Google business profile. So if you have a physical location, it's a must have, right? But if you have a service-based business, I would still recommend opening one because Google will allow you to say that you service a certain population. Now, for example, CSD Marketing Consulting, I have businesses all over like the country. So I have different people in different spaces, but I still have a Google business profile because within it, I'm able to add every single service that I create. I think I have like over 100 services listed in there. So if by chance someone is in San Diego and they're looking for website design or they're looking for social media management, if they're looking for business coaching, if they're in within a certain radius, then I get an extra level of love as far as being seen on there. The other thing is anytime you play in Google and their products, it builds trust and visibility with Google itself. So they'll start to present you more in searches and things like that online. The best part, it's free 99. Everybody should get one. So business.google.com, sign up. If you don't, it does require a physical address, but you can hide it. So even if you end up having, like if you have a home-based business, you can add the home email address, but tell them not to display it. Also, you can go get a PO box. All those things work, but I highly recommend you do that. The other thing is that the website or landing page is important. So one thing is I know a lot of people that they just work, right? They sell plates, they hit the street, they grind. That is beautiful. And if that business model is working for you, I love that. But you should still get a website or even just a landing page. And when I talk about a landing page, it's just a simple one pager. You find your little corner of the internet. You make sure that you have things like hours, phone number or email address, a way for people to contact you, and a call to action. Book here, click here, fill out this form, and that could be the whole thing, right? A little bit of who you are, what you do, and then how to get a hold of you. And that accuracy and just information and just having a space online is so important. Because again, if I'm looking for you and I go grab my phone and Google, or if I ask Siri or Alexa or whomever bot I'm talking to at the moment, if you don't exist in that space, then I won't find you. And then the last thing that I highly recommend, and I know this might be a little controversial because it costs a little money and people don't like to always do that, is the importance of getting a professional email address. And though it's not something that you think about right away, it does establish credibility and it is a better option over, say, a Gmail or a Yahoo. Now, I do know a lot of businesses that do operate with those. I just don't recommend it. And so this way, and also I can't tell you how many times someone has sent me an email and I'll look at it and I'll literally just cut off the first part of the name, anything before at, and then go visit their website to go see more about them. It could be random, like maybe I'm being invited on a meeting and I don't really have any business with that person right now, but I'm going to go investigate and find out. And so you might get referrals or business without even having to work for it, just having that professional email. And also, it definitely makes you seem more established, especially if you're a newer business. It makes it feel like less of a hustle and more like, okay, this person is taking care of their business and, they're looking at their brand. So those are three things. All of these are pretty cost effective, free 99. You can throw a landing page or, I mean, Google, I believe for Google Business Profile, you can actually throw up a landing page from Google Business Profile as an option. And so that would be free as well. And then for a professional email, you probably need the $12 or so to buy the domain, which is your something, something, something.com. And then maybe another $12. I want to say it's like $6 or $7 a month if you do go through Google to establish a professional email. And so cost of doing business, and it'll do a world of good for your brand. All righty. Okay. Oh, and here you go, like quick action tip. So if you don't do anything at all, or if you don't have any of these things, then I would start here. It's three simple things to just do right now. And for the people that have serial businesses, as much as you hate to hear this, is each one of those businesses should have their own brands, especially if they're not talking to the same person. So a lot of times I've worked with clients where they're like, I'm a chef and I sing and I like it's a bodega website pretty much. They do all the things and they're trying to do it on one website and it's like nobody knows what you do. So each one of those things should have its own brand. And so when you're, doing multiple things, just consider that you have multiple brands that you have to manage because it gets so confusing for customers and they'll leave if it gets so confusing or even a little confusing. I know I do. I'm sure you leave too. So just keep that in mind. All right. So I'm going to talk about the four core pieces of an online business strategy that you should focus in on. Some of them will feel like repeats, but and I'll explain a little bit why they are important. All right, so first, the website and SEO. I feel like SEO is this mysterious thing that people talk about, but nobody understands it. And really, SEO is just how do you make sure that people can find you, right? So when you're writing, so one thing that drives me nuts is if I go to a very creative business owner and they are like, their language is so beautiful. It's like, I create realities and dreams from the essence of your toenails to make life better. And I'm sitting there like, but what do you do? And so, even though there's a lot of creativity to be said in your brand, and maybe that's the way that you kind of vibe, just make sure at some point the way that people are looking for you, if I'm looking for a pedicure, that if you have all that beautiful fruity language and fruitful, like that pedicure is somewhere in there. So if I'm searching and Googling, that I can find the service that you have. We've talked about the importance of a website. But also make sure that it's mobile friendly. And the reason I say that is most people are really good about it now, but if you have an older website and you've been doing this for a while, you have to go check to see what it looks like on your cell phone. And here's why. And you probably do this yourself. Most people don't purchase from a single place. So sometimes I might see something on my computer and then be like, okay, I'm going to look at this later when I have more time. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to check it out on, say, my cell phone. Or if I'm sitting down watching TV and I saw something on my cell phone and I want to like sit there with a glass of wine and my iPad, now I've moved over to the tablet. We got to make sure that people can find all the stuff in all the sizes of devices. And so those are called responsive websites. Most of your website makers will do it already. So if you have a new site, you don't have a lot to worry about. If you have an older site, you probably need to look at revamping it, specifically thinking about being able to see it on multiple devices. Alrighty. And then, of course, social media, the reason why we're all here today from our lovely Black San Diego, our group. I would say that one thing about social media that can drive people crazy is that you don't have to be like an influencer on all things. You don't have to be perfect on all of it. So the best thing for you to do is to choose the platforms that your audience are going to be at and be consistent. The other thing I like to say is like choose the platform that you're actually going to use. So if you're like, my audience is on YouTube, but you hate doing YouTube videos, then you should probably not choose YouTube as a primary platform for your business. If you're an Instagram person, like, do the things that make sense. And then like LinkedIn is great if you do any kind of business to business transactions. I find that website to be a little boring and also heavy on sales, but I know it works because I know a lot of times people will push information back and forth on LinkedIn. So social media, come up with a good strategy for it and just stay consistent. I am also going to note that do what I say and not what I do because I'm not very consistent on my own social media. Email marketing. So email marketing, a lot of people are like, emails are old. So here's what's interesting. I don't know if anybody had business on TikTok, but I know that people were freaking out when TikTok was supposed to go away. And that oftentimes there's people that are like, I have 10,000 followers, my business is popping. But here's the thing that's interesting. Those aren't your customers. Those aren't your anything. Those are the platform's customers. So if you have 10,000 followers on Instagram, then basically you're entertaining Instagram's 10,000 customers. And so the only time that you really have your own customers is if you have their contact information. And that's why growing an email marketing list is so important. And honestly, most people like I have a second brand, and in that brand, I've found that I promote events, and the ROI on that is so much higher than anything we do on social media. I could do a million ads and posts and things, and I know how much money that I'm making from the ads because of tracking. And then I can send an email, and I know how much more money that I'm getting from email marketing. It's important for you to consider it. Even if you have like 10 people on your list right now, just start with those 10, start sending like consistent emails out, and then grow it. Just promote it. Like, hey, want to keep up to date, figure out what people want to hear about your business. But email marketing is a really important strategy for you to keep growing your business. And then the last one is online reviews. So it's interesting because I can tell you how great I am all day long. Like, I'm so great. I'm so wonderful. I can tell you that. But people
Hi, how are
want
you?
to, people want,
The McDouble meal deal and the two apple slices on the side? Yes, please.
oh,
Hey, can you mute your mic, Miss Pleasant? Or can I do it?
oh yeah. Okay, perfect. Sorry. Sounded like good dinner though. I'm hungry. Okay, so online reviews are important because I can tell you how great I am, but most people want to know other people's experiences and they want to hear like from somebody else's mouth, like, how are you to work with? How was that product? Was that pedicure popping? And so that's why encouraging the customers that you know that are having a great experience with you, encourage them to leave reviews is really, really important. And it's interesting because I might have talked to like Shuri and Tanisha about this once, that they have a Google business profile. And then with these workshops, it's great to say, hey, if you had a great experience, can you leave us a review on Google business profile? Now, that's not within the Black San Diego ecosystem, but it is showing other people the work that Black San Diego is doing. And so you don't know what other business will come from that. And so I encourage you that even if you don't feel like your business is one that should get reviews, you should ask people if they have a great, ask them for a testimonial so that you can add it to your website. Ask them to go leave it on, Facebook. I don't know if Facebook reviews still do that, but ask them to leave it wherever they can so other people can hear about your business from an outside perspective. All righty. All right, we're moving right along. No, we're not. So content builds connection. When tell your story. Yeah, this is very important. So sharing your story, sharing your values, sharing your wins, constantly keeping people up to date on what you're doing. So one thing that about social media is that a lot of people like to promote like what it is that they have to offer and to sell. A lot of times that's great, but also people will go to your website to see what you sell. A lot of times people are looking at your social media to see the vibe. They want to know what you're doing, what the results are. They want to hear people's stories. They want to know who the owners are. So I like to say that a lot of times social media is your vibe check. And when you're thinking about how you purchase or discover new brands, just kind of like really think about the path that you took to get there. And you'll find that a lot of times it's all the same. We're all doing the same thing. All right. So I have this one and one more, and then we're going to do a quick review and then we'll have some question time. All right, so here's some smart tools that help you to get online and they save time and help you to stay visible. We're all about practical tips here today. So, the fun world of AI. And real quick, let me just find out. We're gonna try to do a little chat. Let's see if I can do two things at once, y'all. Can I see like some hearts or some emojis on who's already using AI? Yes. Anybody else? All right, come on, AI. Anybody else? All right, well, we got a couple people that are participating, and so it looks like we have a few AI users. Okay, good. Product descriptions, coding. Yep, if you're using it, then I love it. Captions. Okay, perfect. So keep going. Keep using it. It keeps developing. A couple here that we have are ChatGPT and Copilot. Those are really great for content. But there's so much more that it's being used for nowadays, especially things like if you do any automation, and meaning like for a small business, you can set up prompts like if this person does this, send them this email. If this person does this, send them this. I have a really cool tool on my website, csd-marketing.com, and it's an AI powered chatbot, and I named her Ava, and I put a little cute black girl in there, and she is great. So what's great about her is at one point I had a chat function on my site, but I guess people like to look for marketing tools in the middle of the night. So I was getting just more like missed chat. So people would ask a question and I'm like, I'm asleep. You know what I'm saying? But now that I've introduced that chatbot, it does the work for me. And even though it says AI powered chatbot, people will have a whole conversation with her. And in the end, I get a summary of what it is that was said. Now, why that's great for me is because I have a very small team. And so that summary is allowing me to have customer service. I can train it by telling it, hey, this information is, here's a new product or service, or hey, can you please send them this link for bookings? And so as I train it, and also as I add things to the website, it's constantly monitoring my things. And so it can talk to people provide information, answer questions, and it always goes for the lead. Like its main job is to get an email address or phone number, contact information, and so I can follow up when I'm awake. And so that has been one of my favorite things ever. The other thing is like social media, um, helping create content as far as like, the captions and stories. This presentation, me and chat got together and had some conversations about it. It even provided some prompts for design that I sent over to my designer because I can't make nothing look pretty. But yeah, so I think it's great as small business owners. Don't be afraid of it, lean into it. I know sometimes people get afraid or about like AI is taking over. I will say that it has helped me use money in different ways because I used to have to hire writers, and I used to have to hire copywriters, and I don't have to do that. And there's like, you can really, like, if you use the same chat over and over, if you're using chat GPT or even other ones, then it will keep remembering and it'll get smarter and smarter. So it just gets faster and faster. So if you're not using it, just try it. I think you'll be thoroughly impressed of the things that it will help you. Even like if I have a brainstorm, like I have an idea. Can you give me the pros and cons of X, Y, and Z? I could find all that information. It would just take me a long time. And then I can move on, to the next answer without feeling like I had to spend hours of research. Especially if you're like, for me, I have a team, but they're the execution group. And so sometimes talking to yourself can feel crazy. And I'm like, I have an idea and no one to talk to. Me and chat get there and just brainstorm. So it's weird now. They have voices too, so you can make it talk to you. I'm not there yet, but they do have that if you feel the need. All right, the next one is Canva. Do you guys love my beautiful presentation? It's all done on Canva. Yeah, so I think that Canva is a great tool, but honestly, they have so many web-based design tools nowadays. Canva, I call out especially because I just feel like it's super easy to use. A lot of people are using it, and the templates are, A1. I know that since so many other people are using it, you can like share templates, and I have designers now that will design specifically in Canva so that if you need to update or change something, it's easy. And yes, the free version is great if you're a nonprofit. I believe you get like multiple free seats. If you are not a nonprofit, I'm not, that little $100 is amazing because the way that I was spending money on designers, now I still do spend money on designers for specific things, but things like social media where you're always constantly having to do things, like just get you some Canva. Like it's great. And then based on that, moving into the next thing is social media schedulers. I did put a shameless plug in there for CSD Connect, which is a platform that my company has. But one of the things that everybody loves, including me, because I use it myself, is that there's the social media schedulers will save your life. And so even if you're using like Meta to help support Facebook and Instagram, they have other ones called Buffer later. There's a ton of them. I use my own, so CSD Connect. And the idea behind that is that you can sit in a session and schedule some time and just bump out a bunch of social media posts that will go over time in a single sitting. And if you are like people that do the work, so reason why I'm pretty inconsistent on social media is because I'm doing everybody else's social media, but I do sometimes have times when I can sit down and just say, okay, I'm going to do 2 weeks worth of posts in Canva, and then I'm going to schedule them out in my social media scheduler with the captions and everything. And I'm just going to check back every once in a while to see if there's comments. And look, at the end of the day, for a person like me that doesn't rely on social media for business, I still know people will go check the vibe. So it's still important to have posts on there. But even though I don't rely on them, doesn't mean it's not important. And this is like a really random sidebar, is that a lot of people get stuck on Instagram and don't like Facebook. But one thing about Facebook for business is that you can't really look at the likes and comments on it and think that people and understand how people are using it. You have to go back and look at the analytics, because on Facebook, I think ever since COVID, when people are getting slammed for having opinions, people don't want to comment, but they will share. Like they'll share it on the back end, they'll click things, they'll interact with it. And so don't don't knock Facebook just because it's not that, it doesn't look like it's working. It's working. And most of the data that people put on there, I go and I check in, I put who my relatives are, where I visited, where I went to school. There's so much personal information on Facebook that if you ever run ads, like Facebook is where everybody's putting their business. So you'll be able to get right in front of them. Alrighty. So here is a bonus tip. This is helpful. And also I would say notes on your phone is that if you have an idea, and you need to write it down somewhere. And I like that some of these things allow you to like attach a voice recording, but I think that oftentimes as business owners, we will get inspired at the least convenient time. And so what has helped me to not feel overwhelmed with having to produce content when I'm not in the mood is to have a list of things when they come up. If I'm in the car, I'll leave myself a little voice note and capture a little note, just like, oh, a topic that came up that might be of importance that I need to discuss or something like that. Like, so keep yourself a little document on your phone, or Google or whatever, and keep track of it, of the ideas that you have. And so some people are limitless with creativity. I'm not one of those people, but I would just recommend whatever you do, keep notes as you get inspired to share something. All right, I have one more part. One more, and then we're gonna do a quick review. Okay, mistakes to avoid. So I have 3 habits that I believe are hurting your online presence. I know this to be true because they're some of the ones that we have to tackle when I have clients coming because they're not getting enough business. They don't have leads. Things aren't going well in the business. I like to look at these things. So the first one is no strategy. This is focusing heavily on social media, but as far as like random posting or copying others and that it doesn't build your own brand. The other thing is that some people will try to be everything to everybody, and you really a lot of times have to step back, and I always say put the humanity back into your business. And what I mean by that is going back to like the world of events. So if you've ever been an event producer in San Diego, then you'll know that in the past 2 years, the buyer behavior changes every 3 months. So if you nailed it, then like and parties are popping, and then 3 months later you do the exact same thing, it may or may not work. And the reason that's being is a lot of people, it could be a number of things, to be honest with you. You got to see what's going on in the media. You have to see what's going on with the economy, and you have to make adjustments based on how people are living their lives. And I think it's really important to do that here in San Diego when you're looking for people to spend money, that you want to make sure that you're pushing the value up front, that they understand why they need this, why that's important, and why they should trust you. And if you think about it, since the beginning of this presentation, a lot of what I've been talking about is really just building trust in your potential buyer. Okay, so no strategy. Any strategy is better than no strategy. And I would say, like, try it consistently. And then if it doesn't work long term, then you have a bunch of data, no loss, right? Well, that didn't work. Parts of it probably did. Let's try something else and be consistent about it and then figure out from there. You can't like try something for 3 days and be like, this sucks. It's not working. Well, it didn't work because maybe nobody was looking that day, but the third day they were going to see it and it was going to be great. So, all right. The next one is trying to be everywhere, trying to be everywhere all the time for everybody. I find that this is probably one of the most frustrating things for business owners. I had someone recently that had a free consultation with me because they were looking for me to take over their social media. I don't love doing that, but my first question was like, okay, well, they're like, I just need someone to take over social media. I'm not currently paying anybody and I just need this taken off my plate. I said, okay, great, understood. Where are you getting your customers? I bet you can guess where they weren't coming from. She said, oh, well, they're coming from this website. I get a lot of referrals from this place. Oh, I've gotten a few people from Google Business Profile, and I'm getting them from XYZ, like these places, right? And none of them were social media. So I'm like, if you are going to invest any money into marketing, why would you spend it on the thing that people aren't you know, like don't do that. Like spend it where spend the money and the extra time on the place where you know that people are coming in for business. So I will say that about like every business, every platform isn't great. A lot of people make a lot of money on YouTube, but it takes a lot of focus. So if you're not a person that loves doing video production, don't stress yourself out trying to figure out YouTube. Everybody wants to do a podcast. If your business calls for a podcast, great, do a podcast. But just remember, a podcast is extra production and extra time that you're pulling away from your business. Make sure it's the right strategy. You don't have to be everything to everybody, and you don't have to be everywhere. You just have to be where your audience is. It's like the really great thing is you can look at these platforms and you can actually Google like the like generational, like who uses what. And so, like Facebook, there's a certain age bracket that likes to be there. Instagram, Snapshot, TikTok, they already broke it down, the demographics for you. And so, if you know, like, say, the age or behaviors of your different audience, your potential customers, then you can specifically focus in on that platform. And especially while you're small, right? And mind you, I do have these schedulers and things where you can post everywhere. But even if you post everywhere, the strategy should still be dialed in to the one that people are going to convert on. Alrighty. And then the last thing is inconsistency. Now, this again is kind of talking about not showing up regularly kills the trust. And we talked about not posting consistently, but I would say inconsistency across the board. A lot of us are losing money, and I say us because me too, in the follow-up. If you have inconsistent follow-up, if you know, are not replying to people right away, if you don't have a system for being able to get back to folks, if you're not posting, if you're not, you know, if just the bad communication, like that is just draining you of money. And I would say that these are some of the places where you can lean into AI and lean into automation because it is difficult to keep track of all these things. And so, like that chat bot, right? I couldn't do it. I couldn't be up all the time waiting for it to ding. And so now I have this chat bot that does that for me. So, you know, there are solutions to all the things. So, we got a couple more minutes before we open up to questions. So, I'm going to do a quick countdown, and it's kind of just a review of the things that we've talked about. And so I think it's a simple countdown to success, but I'll also give it to you so you can think it's simple too, right? Okay, so we're just going to run through some of the things that we talked about just as a quick recap, because I've been talking for a long time, and then we'll open up to questions. So, all right, so our first part of we're going to talk about 5 reasons that your online presence matters. Hopefully I drilled it into you, but if not, visibility equals credibility. If I can see you, you know, like the homie that's only on Instagram and I can't go check out the website, I can't like pass a link to so and so, they can't Google and find. Like, I don't know, are they shady? Are they going to steal my deposit? Like, visibility equals credibility. Also, it builds trust. Everything we've talked about is just like creating consistency across the board so that people will trust doing business with you. Also, the online space is a great place to connect with customers, contact us forms, you know, DM conversations where people might have questions, email, all that stuff online is super helpful to be able to connect with the customers that you have. The competitive edge, if I'm creating the story in a way that's compelling and you understand the value versus a person that does not do that, I'm winning. I win. And then, of course, being in a place and space of having online where you can accept payments, you can get bookings, people can take action with you while you're asleep is always important because otherwise you have to be active and present for all of these things. So that's 5 reasons why your online presence matters. Okay. And so then 4 digital marketing areas to focus on. We covered all of these. So your website and SEO, your social media, email marketing. Remember, if it's not your email address, if you're just focusing on social, you're doing a great job entertaining somebody else's customers. And then your online reviews. Why? Because I'm great, but you tell me and tell everybody else how great I am, I'm even better. So we want to get those online reviews so that people can hear from someone else's perspective how great you are. All right, 3 mistakes to avoid. These are 3 new mistakes, but we talked about Google Business Profile, so don't sleep on it. Free 99. Everybody get one. Spreading yourself too thin, that covers like the strategy, a lack of strategy, trying to be on all the platforms. So that is another mistake. And then also inconsistent posting. And again, I reiterate, posting, but just inconsistency in your business. And that's like a business tip and not just a marketing tip. And then number two tools to use. We've already talked about how much I love AI powered things and the love for Canva to be able to save money. Look, you're saving money on writers and designers just with these two tools. And then lastly, on our countdown for success, I'm going to say one thing you should do today is go ahead and claim or optimize your Google business profile. And if you already have one, go back and check all your services. Go back and make sure all your information is accurate. I don't know if many of you know, but you can post to Google. So if you have something going on right now, you have a deal, an event, you have some information, a new product or service, you can make a post, almost like a social media post. You can put a call to action. You can create an event. And though you won't get a ton of traffic from that, if people are Googling and searching and they run across this profile, now they have even more reason to contact you or take action. So with that being said, that's it, y'all. We made it exactly at 6:45. So if you have any questions, I think I saw a couple. Otherwise, let's just chat. What's up? What you got
There
for me?
was one earlier from Miss Snow Black. She was asking if it was okay to obtain emails from different things and then cross over to one.
Great question. So, technically in California, there is a spam law called the can spam. You can always email one time. In general, and it depends on the way that, so if you have like the way you're set up. So for me, I have one like business LLC, but I run a couple different brands under it. And in the bottom of my emails, it says that whether you're in brand A or brand B, it says that CSD Marketing is who owns these emails. And so therefore I can email to both brands. It's a legality. But to answer your question, there's that. The other option is that, so even if you like purchase a list, you can always email a group one time to ask them to opt in. And the biggest thing to do is to make sure you're not emailing from like Gmail, but that you're emailing from an email marketing system so that they have the ability to unsubscribe. So that's like your MailChimps, your Constant Contacts, there's a million of them out there. I like MailChimp. I like Constant Contact. But as long as they can unsubscribe, then your business won't get in trouble. You just don't want to do too much of that where you're pissing people off and then they blacklist your email. So hopefully that answered it.
Thank you. Yeah, it does. Because I use
Okay.
Calendly, but I was just like confused for when I start my mentorship program. But I got it now. Like I'll just send one email, one mass email, like opt into this if you're interested. And yeah, problem
Yep. And then
solved.
Calendly, what you're going to also want to do is you're going to want to pull. So I love that you brought that up for Calendly, your website, blah, blah, blah. You're going to want to pull all of those different email addresses. If you've done like an Eventbrite, download those lists. You want to put them into one email marketing list, and then you can tag them and separate them. Because if you ever decide to move away from Calendly, like you want to be able to talk to those people. If they've had any connection with your business at all, if they've tapped in with you outside of, say, social media, then they're your customer. You know what I mean? So make sure you
Mm-hmm.
are communicating with them.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you please just repeat really briefly? And I'm sorry for whoever I got in front of. You said it was MailChimp, and what was the other one?
Constant Contact.
Constant Contact. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then
Those are the OGs, and I feel like they have the best integrations, meaning everybody already works with them.
Cherie asks, how important is it to know your best times to post?
It's not that important, to be honest with you, because here's the thing about it, you don't get to decide when they see it. So the algorithm, especially like on Instagram, they're serving the content when they feel like it, not necessarily when you post it. I would say that it's more helpful for you to be online and actively like maybe commenting and things on like engaging with your audience or other audiences during the times when your audience is most active, but you can just play with it. A lot of times it doesn't matter at all, just the way the algorithms work. Like LinkedIn to me is notorious. I don't know when they send stuff, but I'll like log in and see stuff from like 2 weeks ago. But I hardly ever see the stuff that comes in today. So I would just say that it's not gonna make or break you, but for sure you can test it. And if you know, hey, if I send something at 9 a.m., it works better than if I do it at 5 p.m. And then if you do know how to look at the analytics in the back, especially like Instagram's really great at that. I don't know about TikTok, but it'll tell you like when your audience is most active. But it shouldn't deter you from anything. Anybody else?
I think Miss
There's-
Corbin has her hand up.
Okay.
I wanted to touch on, yes, thank you. I wanted to touch on, I don't know what the actual apps are called, but it's like Office Suite, or I know I had one before and it was like $65 a month, and it allowed me to have this alternative phone number, kind of like a Google Voice number, so that I could reach out to my customers doing one particular text message blast, and again, allowing my customers um, to opt out if they needed to, or whatever the case may be. But this particular one was very expensive, and they kept my customers. Like, I couldn't get my customers' information that I downloaded into their system when I decided to walk away from them. What kind of other systems are there, or are you familiar with Google Voice that gives you that alternate phone number and allows you the ability to do text message blasts rather than just an email marketing system?
Yeah, so what's great is the 2 email marketing systems that I just said, MailChimp and Constant Contact both do SMS now. And you can you can take your list with you, you can export. I will say that SMS marketing is expensive, right? So across the board, you're gonna find that there's a couple reasons why, is that they charge you for the usage. So you're basically paying per text message. And so if you have a sizable list, you're gonna pay. But yeah, so things like MailChimp, they have an SMS add-on. You have to pay a monthly charge just to have the ability to do it, and then you have to pay per text. So that's why, depending on how big your list is, it can get very expensive. But it is a great strategy because people will clearly look at they'll look at a text message faster than they'll look at anything else. And they do have the opt-out option in there. And so you don't have to worry about that. Each one of those, if you use either one of those services or any text service, actually, they require you to register a phone number. So you get a phone number that's yours. It's registered and enabled to do text blasts, but you can also use it for a phone number. So the chatbot that I have on my site, it also comes with the ability to finish the conversation on text. So if you started the conversation with me on the website and you did give your phone number, then it'd be like, hey girl, you finished talking to me, the chatbot. And then after it does the summary, it'll text me and say, hey, Courtney, so-and-so is on the site and they want this. Like, they'll give me the shorthand. But I can use that same phone number for business text exchange, for text blast, and also people can call me, and it just redirects to my personal cell phone number. So
Wow.
your emails, use Constant
Yeah.
Contact, MailChimp, like those. I would look at those bigger ones. Okay, there's another question came in. What system do I suggest to use for creating landing pages? Um, I mean, you can do any of them. So I know a lot of people like to use Wix. That one's pretty easy for drop and drag. Yeah, so Google, if you go to Google Business Profile, they'll have an option for like create a landing page. There are just, it doesn't even matter if you GoDaddy has a decent web builder. I will say that if you are, when you first start off and you're just looking to have a presence, I would go for the one that's least expensive. And then Oftentimes, like you might have a little bit of a monthly payment if you use a custom domain, which means like mine doesn't say csdmarketing.wix.com. It says csd-marketing.com all by itself. I have to pay for that. So monthly, I have to pay to make sure that I stay online for hosting, and that's across the board. But yeah, I can also, if you want to like shoot me an email or jump on the chat bot and give me your info, I can send you links with some recommendations. We also have some easy landing pages. But yeah, you can do them by yourself, like build your own little site. It's cool. You just need the basics up there. Oh, there's another recommendation in the text, Clavio. Um, from Angie. She uses Clavio and they have SMS and email management, and she likes that one too. So thank you for sharing. Yeah, I just have my preferences because those are the ones we build on in mass, but there's a ton of companies out there that are doing great things. And even like there are even email systems like I know MailChimp, they have landing pages built in with that service where you could throw up a landing page that came in from MailChimp that will automatically have the email, you can do the email message in there. I'm sorry, the contact form. So then now they're already on your mailing list. And then as you grow your business and it gets more sophisticated, then you can up level your website as well. Anything else? We have about 5 more minutes.
Can I just ask really briefly, going back to the Google business page and such, I have that as well, but and it's associated with my Google Voice number. But do you recommend that if you have a couple different businesses, like you mentioned, different branding for each one, different phone numbers for each one as well?
You don't have to. Um, I use, I have a couple different, it just depends. That's really more of a business, like a business decision in the back end operations question. Because if somebody comes in, how are you answering the phone? If you have multiple brands. So you would kind of have to answer that. So if someone calls and they're like, are you going to name all 3 businesses that they called into? So you would just kind of need to decide that based on how you're running your business. That's more of like an operations thing than a marketing thing.
Are you familiar with any systems that they can call a number and then based on how it comes into your primary phone number, you can tell how to answer the phone? Like, oh, this is coming in from, in my case, just to give you some context, I have a beauty products business and then I have a beauty services business. And although I would like in the real world for those two to be married to one another, I want to continue to keep them separate because they align differently. So, and then I also do other consulting work on the side that's completely outside of the beauty business. So I want to be able to, generally, I answer the phone, this is Star. And I kind of let people know in the messaging system, like, you've been redirected to my personal line. Just a minute, son. You've been redirected to my personal line, and here we go. That way I can address it accordingly. But I would prefer to know, what business is calling me instead of me having to guess based on what they're saying. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think I'll do, if you can send me a message like outside of here. I believe there is a business called Grasshopper that does that, but I would like to go back and research where it allows you to have kind of different extensions. Would be, instead of having to pay for a new phone number for each line, you can have a different extension, like press 1 for this, press 2 for that. That would probably work well with the 2 business brands because they're close enough. And then the other consulting, you might want to consider just another Google business phone number.
Thank you so much.
Looks like we have 2 other questions. Uh, Dorothy, I guess, because I can't see all of them.
So I just have like a quick question. So I want to start like my own crochet business, but I know I can't really do like a lot of in person. I want to do online selling. So like what would be like the best option to make like the online selling site like for e-commerce, I believe it's called.
E-commerce, yep. So the leader of the pack is Shopify. Um, they're the number one e-commerce site. It could be really big. And it also depends. Like that's another question because like you might want to sell on Etsy, right? Because a lot of people are already looking for homemade goods and then just create more like a simple landing page with a few of the products on there. If you're doing live selling, like some people do live selling on TikTok or on Instagram, then you wouldn't necessarily need a full store. But I would start with like maybe checking out Shopify. I do believe they have an inexpensive version. And then Wix for brand new business owners. I think that Wix.com is one of the easier platforms to use. And I do know that they do have e-commerce on there. So I would check those two out.
Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. And then Miss Jackson, I see your hand.
Yes, I was, excuse me, I was just asking a little kind of piggybacking off of what Star was talking about with the different phone numbers through Google Voice because I used to have like a kind of a like a different business line that was connected to my personal phone. But then later down the line, I got an opportunity to be added to another like a venue business to run their like appointment scheduling and walkthroughs and things, just kind of helping out with that. So I'm connected there, but I was trying to see about connecting like my own business line. Am I able to do that still with Google Voice?
Connect your own business line to what?
Like to the same phone number? Because you know how like I'm catching the calls for this
Yeah.
other business, but I want to
So
also do the same for mine. What do
yeah,
you
so
suggest?
Val in here is dropping some knowledge on Ring Central as an option. So I would say maybe look into that one. I'm not
Okay.
familiar with that tool, but I see that there's a whole conversation on that, which I love. Thank you so much for the share.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Otherwise, what I believe I know about Google, and I will say this, is that they have great customer service, so you can ask too, but is
Okay.
that you can have multiple lines and they all feed into one phone. Like it's a vanity number.
Okay.
And so I know that people have like had the vanity numbers and then they'll even program, if you go in and program it online, you can tell it like this number is this business so that when the phone rings, it'll say the business name instead of the caller, which can be a little irritating. But yes, so there's options there as well. But I would check out this Ring Central. What you're
Okay.
asking about, there was one called Grasshopper that was built for entrepreneurs, and it was like a VoIP, the voice over calling. So it was more like
Mm.
a Wi-Fi type calling, and it had a lot of options. I haven't used that one in a few years, so that's why I said let me look into it. But what you guys are asking about is not, you're not alone. So there's something
Mm-hmm.
built for it. Like I promise you,
Okay.
there's something out there. We just, maybe I don't have that answer right now, but we can definitely, I don't mind researching, but there's also a couple options that have come up that you might want to look into.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Cool. So we're a little bit over time, and so it looks like we need to close this one up, but I would love to invite y'all to come chat with me over at my bot. If you do, or you can just like drop me an email at hello@CSD Marketing and CSD-marketing. I don't even know my website. That's cute. But I'm happy to send over the presentation if you have any questions. On the website, you're able to go and do a consultation. I always do free consultations. A lot of times I'm not a great fit for people, but I love to give you the right direction. And then if you are interested in learning about, I did tell you guys I have a platform and tool a toolbox, I guess you want to call it, that is built with the entrepreneur in mind. It's like a single login and has all these different capabilities to kind of track all these things in one place, then I'd love to show you a demo of it. It's very cost effective. Like I have an online scheduler that posts to 7 different social media platforms for $30 a month, right? So it's not there to, you still got to do the work, but at least you don't have to log in 50 times. So I do have those types of things available too. But thank you so much for this and being a captive audience and asking questions and participating. And it was a joy to present to you. And I hope y'all enjoyed it and learned some stuff. And you're gonna run out and do your Googles and make that money and get found.
Thank you, Courtney. I agree with Angie. The countdown was bomb. I love that. That's something that stuck out. For all of y'all that are on right now, one thing I got from today was, can y'all please do a review or give us an online review, both for the B6 program and then also for the information that Courtney gave as well. Hit us up on Facebook and let folks know if you are getting value from these B6 Zooms, so we can have more people join us.
You got it.
Thank you.
I'll be
Thanks, y'all.
tagging you
Good night,
guys on
everyone.
Instagram.
Thank you.
Yes. Bye. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.